Alright, what's going on YouTube? It's Splash here, back again. Just wanted to do my recaps of games 5 and 6. I initially planned on having the recap of game 5 out the same day that the game happened, but things happen. I got distracted. It didn't happen. So sorry about that. But recapping games 5 and 6, just going over them a little bit. We might have the greatest final series since 2016. It has been a wild ride, intense to say the least, but this might be the greatest finals that we have gotten in the 2020s 100%, but since 2016. Just to kind of go over it, we have a game 7. We're going to game 7. The Pacers were able to take game 6, but before I get into game 6 and how they're able to take game 6, game 5, I want to start out by saying it was rough for Tyrese. I'm a Pacers fan. I say it literally every day. And it was really, really rough for Tyrese Halliburton in this game. And I think a big part of that was obviously his strained calf, but also he couldn't get anything to go. He wasn't he had 4 points and all of them came off of free throws. But it was tough, and he strained his calf pretty early in the game, so I guess that can kind of fall into it. But his three ball hasn't been falling really all finals. I think up until that game he had missed because how many did he take in that game? Let's find out. I think he took 5, because he took 8 total shots that game, and I think he took 5 threes and he missed all of them. So his three ball hasn't been falling. He's been doing well getting to the rim on OKC in terms of getting to a little floater range and stuff like that. But obviously he strained his calf in this game, so he's not going to have as easy a time getting there. But also he already isn't having an easy time getting there because OKC is just that dominant a game, or a dominant a defense. Realistically, the only reason the Pacers stood a chance in this game was Pascal Siakam. At one point in the fourth quarter, he helped to get it down to 2 points, a difference of 2 points, and that was the Pacers' chance to kind of come back and win this game. And it was a really good game. Don't get me wrong, even though Tyrese played poorly, it was a fantastic game, and it was a close game, and the Pacers absolutely had a shot. TJ McConnell and Pascal Siakam made sure of that. But I think, realistically, the game kind of just comes down to the fact that their best player got injured in the first half. Game 6. Game 6. Game 6. Game 6. Sorry, I just had to make sure I was actually recording. Because I didn't see the time going. But game 6. The Pacers came out with a fire. There was a lot of controversy about whether Tyrese would play in game 6. Sorry, I'm messing with my hair a lot, but it's just because I do that a lot. There's a lot of just debate on whether Tyrese would play or not during game 6. They weren't sure. Tyrese wasn't sure himself. He made it extremely clear that he wanted to play. That was his priority, was getting out on the floor. There were so many quotes from him saying, "If I can walk, I'm playing." And for those of you that don't know, with a calf strain, you're risking an Achilles tear. That's what happened to KD back in 2019. Yeah, 2019 with that Warriors run. He tore his Achilles because he had a calf strain. It puts a lot of pressure kind of on that hind part of your leg, and when you're pushing off, for example, it puts a lot of pressure back there. So calf strain's very, very serious and very dangerous to play on. But Tyrese did not care. And I think in game 5, a big kind of thing was Tyrese, like I said, he got injured early in that game. So it's really hard to kind of play around a guy that got injured, but it's also hard to change your game plan on the fly and kind of just completely stray away from your star point guard and stop using him. So it was really, really difficult for the Pacers to kind of just take him out of the game plan during game 5. So he looked awful during game 5 because he had to play through it because the Pacers had no other choice but to play through him. In Game 6, it was extremely different. All right, so Tyrese, obviously, everyone knew about the injury going into the game. Everyone knew his calf was strained. Everyone knew he was not going to be at 100%. And I think that is the sole reason the Pacers were able to win this game. And it sounds ridiculous because it's like you were able to win a game when your best player is injured, right? Like your best player is injured, he's not playing at 100%, but it's all about game planning. One thing I think I haven't talked about enough as just a fan is the coaching of Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle has coached an insane series for the Pacers. A lot of his adjustments and just a lot of his game plans for the Thunder have been really, really good. And I think realistically, he's the reason that the Pacers are in this series whatsoever. The kind of idea behind this game was to let Nembhard and McConnell become kind of the focal points of the offense, while having Tyrese play a significantly more off-ball role. That was something they were doing in this series anyway because of the on-ball pressure from OKC. But this game, it was kind of dialed up. You saw Tyrese with the ball in his hands significantly less, and you saw Nembhard and McConnell be a lot more aggressive even when Tyrese was on the floor. And I think this worked out to the benefit of Tyrese and the Pacers offense as a whole. Tyrese was able to get a fair amount of really good looks from three, and he knocked down 3 3-pointers in this game, which is the most he's hit in a bit during these finals. I think going into this game, he had missed his prior 11 3-pointers. So he was 0 for 11 going into Game 6, and he hit 3 this game. But also there was a lot of mention about him not really going to his left and not shooting on the left side of the court, and he did that multiple times this game. So overall, Tyrese had a really, really solid Game 6, even though he was injured. And I think that was kind of the story. Also, TJ McConnell. I think... Okay, so I made a tweet yesterday, right? And one thing that is kind of up in the air for me is Finals MVP if the Pacers win it, right? I think if the Thunder win it, it's obviously going to be between J-Dub and Shea. This is going to sound crazy, but right now, no, I lied. Right now, if the Thunder were to win, I'm kind of leaning J-Dub over Shea for Finals MVP, which sounds kind of crazy, but I think J-Dub, though he's had a couple of bad games, he has been really, really good, kind of in bounce-back games. I've just kind of thoroughly enjoyed J-Dub. And Shea, when he's bad, he's really, really bad. Part of it is because there's such a heavy reliance on him, but you feel when Shea is bad because the whole team kind of suffers for it. But for the Pacers, I have no clue who is going to win this Finals MVP. It'll probably be Pascal Siakam, mainly because he's been the most consistent. But if there isn't an argument for TJ McConnell or Obi Toppin or even Tyrese, so many players on the Indiana Pacers have played a ridiculous role. Obi Toppin has had one of the in my personal opinion, one of the best off the bench final series I've seen in a very long time. He has been scoring ridiculously effectively. He's had so many clutch putbacks. He's had just so many clutch defensive plays, and he is playing to the potential that the New York Knicks saw in him when they drafted him back in 2020, right? But TJ McConnell has been an absolute game changer in terms of pace for this game. I don't think there is a single player on the Pacers that gets to the paint, gets as many paint touches as TJ McConnell does, and I don't think there's a player on the Pacers that's as effective after getting those paint touches as TJ McConnell. He does the little Nash dribble, kind of dives under the basket, but he always seems to make a solid play out of it. There are times in some games where I'm just dude, why are you holding the ball so damn long? But that was not the case in this game. But he also had 4 steals in this game. TJ McConnell was the difference maker for the Indiana Pacers. He's kind of done this throughout all of the finals. I don't think I've had a finals game where I've just been God, TJ was ass. So he's been really, really good. But overall, Pacers got Game 6. This was a really poor showing for OKC in terms of defense. They came out flat, and I don't know why you come out flat against a team like the Indiana Pacers, especially with the run that the Pacers have had, because like they've been one of the most clutch and just consistently surprising teams in these playoffs this year. So I don't think there's room to really give them a chance in this series. Sorry, I'm just trying to fix this strand of hair. I don't think there's room to give them a chance in this series, and I think that's what the Thunder just did. So it's really scary for them. They were down by 30 going into the fourth quarter. I'm going to be honest, I didn't watch the fourth quarter because they were down by 30 going into the fourth quarter, but like, this is scary for OKC. This is probably the first time I have kind of felt like the Pacers really had the upper hand against OKC. So definitely a scary series for them. We have Game 7 on Sunday. I do have to work my full-time job on Sunday, so I will probably be late with my recap. Hopefully not. Hopefully, I'm going to try and leave work a little early so I can do my recap pretty soon after. But scary stuff for OKC. Obviously, they're going back home, so that'll be to their benefit. Obviously, playing home for a Game 7 is the benefit you get of being the 1 seed, but I think a 30-point loss in Game 6 of the NBA Finals in a closeout game is unacceptable. You have to close it out, especially against a team like the Pacers. I think OKC is definitely slightly intimidated now. There is slight bias in this when I say that, but definitely intimidated. Thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you disagree with me on any of my takes or any of my thoughts, drop a comment. If you completely agree with me, drop a comment. Check out some of my other videos, and then I'll see you guys on Sunday, maybe Monday. Goodbye.